Comic Timing
is a proud member of the Comics Podcast Network. Bitch. Print it. Welcome to episode 143 of Comic Timing, a comics podcast devoted to the average comic book fan from the average comic book fan. Join in as Brent Cassina, Andy and Levacy, and discuss whatever comes to mind, time after time, here on Comic Timing. Time to review Iron Man 3 before everyone else does. Yeah, we're actually going to be timely for once and live up to our name, Comic Timing. Here now, Comic Timing. Hey there, folks. My name's Ian Levacy, and welcome to episode 143 of Comic Timing. And yeah, we're just going to do Brent and me. That's it. That's it. That's it. It's just me and Brent tonight because we had two bails. All right, it was going to be Raph and Juan. Raph's feeling sick, so I'm like, okay, fine. And Juan is on Pacific Standard Time or something like that because he didn't show up to the recording. So it's just me and Brent. So I introduced the casino right now. What's up, Brent?
What's up? I thought you were going to say we won't name names, and then I was going to name the names, but you just went out and named them. That's cool with me.
No. They are being named, man. That's it. It's like when we say 10 o'clock, that doesn't mean 10:01. That doesn't mean 10:02. That means 10:05 because we're usually about 5 minutes late. But once you're once 10:05 rolls around, if that ain't gonna happen, then we're just gonna go ahead and do the episode. So why not?
This is the exact reason why the Geeks Unite podcast did not last.
Oh yeah, sure, that's the reason. Right.
Well, I was thinking maybe the other reason was they both were in love with that Danny girl, and then she didn't want either of them, so she split the cavern between the two of them.
All right, I can safely say that is not at all the case. Knowing all three of them, but however, I do like the soap opera that you've crafted in your mind, so we're just going to go with that.
That's what I have down in Florida. You know?
Right. And I am now officially following Florida Man on Twitter, which is the best Twitter to follow. The worst superhero ever. They just post every article involving Florida Man. So it's like Florida Man drowns in his own bathtub. Like
I'm a fan of the Batman.
Oh yeah,
and he's funny.
Yeah, no, he gets good stuff out there. So here we go, man. It's Iron Man 3. Since the last time we recorded, we are now officially 7 years old on this show. So welcome to the 7th year of Comic Timing officially.
Wow, we're still only in the 3rd grade.
Yeah, I know. I have known you since 2006 now.
Wow, that's awful.
Yeah, I know. We're old. Or at least I'm getting old. I have to specially comb my hair to hide the grays now because they're coming in like fast and furious now. What are you gonna do? So here we go. All right, Iron Man 3. Let's start off with you, and then I'll give my overall opinion, and we can go a little bit more in depth from there. What'd you think, and how's it rank in the franchise?
I'm gonna say 3.5 out of 4 stars. I enjoyed the movie, and when it ended, my reaction was, that was cool. Not, oh, that was great, oh, that was good. I wasn't ecstatic or anything. I wasn't crying like Dark Knight Rises last summer. That's just me. That's my reaction. But it was definitely good. I would put it on par with Iron Man 2. I like Iron Man 2, so those of you who didn't, don't feel like that is a bad review. I liked Iron Man 2 very much, and I like this one as well. I would say just above Iron Man 2. Doesn't quite capture Iron Man 1 because that was such a breath of fresh air that it was unexpected. I don't think you can ever kind of top that unexpected breath air feeling. But definitely a very, very well, very good movie. Oh, and spoiler alert. If you haven't seen the movie, just stop listening now.
Yeah, duh.
Obviously.
Yeah, if you've been listening to Comic Timing long enough, I think you know that we go pretty in depth on spoilers most of the time.
You should read the Raging Bullets spoiler alert or sing it, whatever they're doing now.
And we are a spoiler podcast. We go in depth in the plot lines, story twists, and whatnot of Iron Man 3. So if you haven't watched the movie, go ahead and watch it, and so you can better enjoy the show.
Good job, Ian. God bless you, Jim and Sean.
How did I remember that? I
don't know. All I could do was like in-depth spoiler podcast, and that's as far as I could get in my head when I was talking.
Plot lines, story twists, and whatnot.
Anyway.
Did we have an Iron Man 2 episode back in the day? I'm trying to remember.
We might have done a combination one with like Kick-Ass and stuff like that summer.
Yeah.
I want to say it was a combo episode.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Let me try and find that in our archives here, because I'd like to find the specific episode so we can link
Highlight
people
it,
to
yeah.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was definitely good. I would say I enjoyed it as much as I did Cap and Thor. You know, it wasn't Avengers level, but I think that would be hard to top anyway. But definitely a good movie. I would say I put Cap and Thor above Iron Man 3 on enjoyment level. I mean, it's the first experience. There's just something about those two movies, and the same with Iron Man 1 that, you know, it's hard to say for me that it ranks above these movies or anything like that. But I definitely did enjoy it on a high level. So
Yeah. That would be Comic Timing episode 109, by the way.
Okay.
August 3rd, 2010, you, me, and Alec B discussing Kick-Ass and Iron Man 2.
Kick-Ass sequel comes out at the end of the summer.
Yes, I know, which I'm looking forward to, and we will definitely discuss it when it comes out. It's funny how they, in some ways, matched up in their release schedules like that. You know, Iron Man 2 and Kick-Ass came out in 2010, and now here we are with Iron Man 3 and Kick-Ass 2 the same year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. 109, you said?
Yeah, 109, episode 109. So yeah, my take is, for one thing, I was a little trepidatious going into this because usually there is a third movie curse, or at least there was for a while when it came to comic book movies. We all know the disaster that was Superman 3 back in the day because, as I think I've mentioned on this show before, and it's come up elsewhere as well, that the entire reason that Superman 3 sucked was because they expected Richard Pryor to improvise, and he was so in love with Superman that it didn't wind up happening. So then we were there for Spider-Man 3, and we had Emo Spidey. And yeah, we all know how well that turned out. They relaunched the damn franchise. That's because that was so bad. Now here we are with Iron Man 3, and I came into this with eyes wide open, and I was pleasantly surprised. I think Shane Black especially gets the credit for this one, Brent, because I was actually thoroughly impressed with with what we had for this.
Yeah.
I mean, like he directed it pretty damn well. And I think he had a distinctly different vibe going than what Jon Favreau had, but it certainly worked within the Iron Man universe. The other thing is, I was happy that Jon Favreau came back to be Happy in this movie. I mean, even if he wasn't in it for very long, the role that Happy played in the movie was kind of vital. I mean, he was in it for, maybe I'd say 11 minutes, 12 minutes combined. For the entire movie itself, Brent.
But he got a lot more integral screen time this time around than just being, showing up in the background in the other ones. The other ones, it kind of felt like he was there, but he opened the door and said, "What do you need, boss?" or opened the car door or something else like that. So he actually played a point to the plot this time, which I liked.
Right. Yeah, no, and he certainly did move it along, because if not for him, then we wouldn't have gotten to the next arc of the story, and that really sweet 3D simulation of the explosion that happened there. I feel the humor was just right in this movie. Like some people have said that it was over the top, but I feel it was right in line with Iron Man and Iron Man 2. I didn't find it silly, which is another thing that some people mentioned, is that they felt that, again, it went too far into that direction of making fun of itself. But no, I mean, what we've learned from Iron Man and Iron Man films in general is that there's going to be a seriousness combined with humor. And that's exactly what we got here, and it worked well for what was presented to us. The major twist of the movie, and I posted this in my review that I posted to my own personal Facebook, is, and I'm not joking when I say this, dude, like 10 minutes into the movie, Chris turns to me and whispers, I wonder if this is all like a plan. Like, I wonder if Mandarin is real here. Like, if this is a fake. I'm like, what? What are you talking about? And then later on in the movie, bam! That's exactly what it is. And I just turned to her and I'm like, you.
It's funny you say that. My dad is usually pretty good at spotting these things.
Uh-huh.
And like when we're watching movies at my parents' house back in the day, we'd rent something, and 10 minutes in the movie, he'd go, "I got a prediction," and be like, "What, Dad?" And usually he ends up being right, son of a bitch. But not to say bad about my grandmother, she's deceased, but whatever. Never, she died before I was born.
She didn't see that coming.
Sorry, Grandma. But no, we were watching it. Me and Mandy and my mom and dad were watching it together, and I didn't hear anything from him going that he predicted the twist or anything like that. And there was one point later on where he was actually surprised. We'll get to that later, but I don't think he predicted it at all. So that's pretty good.
Yeah,
for my dad not being able to predict it, it's pretty good.
And what was great about the movie too for me is that this was just about the right length. Like I've had a bunch of movies, and I liked Amazing Spider-Man, but that thing felt like it had like 4 endings tacked onto it, and I kept like getting ready to get out of my seat, and then they would have another scene. Like,
yeah, this was 2 hours, right?
Yeah, no, this was smack dab on that point. And
this was 2 hours. Avengers was 2.5 or like 2 hours and 20 minutes.
But it moved fast.
Spider-Man but it moved very fast.
Yeah.
Amazing Spider-Man was the same length, like 2 hours, 20 minutes, and that was really long. I remember sitting in that movie last summer going, "Oh my gosh, like this is taking forever to get to anything."
Yeah.
So I definitely feel like movies, like unless you're like, I don't really know what constitutes an extra 20 minutes. I think 2 hours is the maximum movie length. Even now, sometimes I'm looking at like things on Netflix going like, and I've got like an hour and a half. I'm going, 2 hours, 2 hours, 2 hours. There's no really good like tight hour and a half movies. Like I think the next Origin movie they do, I think it could be a tight like hour and a half, or
Ant-Man could be an hour and a half.
Plus 10 minutes.
Ant-Man could be an hour and a half.
I think so.
Yeah.
So I think 2 hours and 20 minutes, save it for like something epic. Avengers 2, Avengers 3. I don't think any of these standalone films need to be 2 hours and 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, I know all of Nolan's films were longer than 2 hours for the Batman.
But Dark Knight.
They were packed with plot, though.
Yes, but
they were packed with things, but there's still times I admit that they do feel a little long.
Yeah, I mean, my opinion on Dark Knight and that it was 20 minutes too long. I'm not going to change that
the Harvey
opinion.
Dent thing, I mean, you could have definitely excised that from the film and it still would have been a great film.
Yeah, no, and that's why I prefer Rises when it comes to Dark Knight versus Dark Knight Rises, because I feel that there's very little in Dark Knight Rises that could be excised if you really think about it that way. But that's another story for another time. We're talking Iron Man here. What was great about this too is that even though there was so much not Tony Stark in the armor going around, it still worked. It just made it even more special when he was in the Iron Man suit, because I think every single franchise has that moment, whether it be Spider-Man in the Spider-Man No More, or with Captain America when he's disillusioned about, I mean, in the Avengers movie, even when he's disillusioned about where he is in his life and whether or not he's going to find a home in this new reality that he's in this new world that he's in. Iron Man, Tony Stark had that in this movie, because he's having the PTSD, or at least the flashes to the Avengers movie, and he can't sleep, he can't think. All he's doing is in his workshop creating new armors, and everyone's like, "Dude, give it a rest. You gotta do your best to get over this." And you could tell Tony's thinking to himself, like, is it time to just hang up the suit and go do something else? But then Mandarin shows up, and he's an idiot and gives out his address, but we go from there. But this was definitely one of those movies where we got to see the I guess the Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. side of Tony Stark, or the James Bond side of Tony Stark, more than we got to see the Iron Man side.
Well, I definitely think it fit the theme of the film when the end hit and he goes, "There's one thing you can't take away from me. I am Iron Man." And this movie proved it to a point that he doesn't need the suit necessarily to be Iron Man, to be a hero, to be the man that he is. And I think that was the whole point of the film, was to say that. and they ended the first film that way. They ended the third film that way. It makes a really nice kind of come together moment for both those films, admitting it to the world and then admitting it to himself that I am Iron Man, and there's that will never change.
Well, and come on, he freaking dragged that suit all the way through Tennessee,
right,
by himself without any assistance.
I bet Mark 43 will have the ye old fashioned Silver Age roller skates.
Oh, God.
Just because of that. That way he can stand it up and just push it. It'd be a lot easier.
Ooh, can it have a nose and ears?
Although I will say I was surprised he did have a pull strap in the armor to begin with.
Yeah.
That big yellow strap. I was like, I wonder if that's like a parachute cord or something. I don't know.
War Machine / Iron Patriot worked for me as well. Yet again, we didn't get that much War Machine or Don Cheadle in this movie in general, but when we got him, it really mattered because again,
he was in. I think he was in it more than he was Iron Man 2, though.
Yeah, really, you think?
Or at least the same amount, but it felt like this time was more quality because at the end. I just watched Iron Man 2. He was participating in the action, but he was being controlled. I'm glad they didn't do that here again necessarily.
Right.
They could have. But they could have. But it was Rhodey participating with Tony and getting him access to this, driving the boat, or doing different things. He had a lot more face time at the end of the movie,
right? And
conversations with Tony than he did, like say in the first one when that he had the conversations when he was in the air in the first movie and stuff like that. Like, is that you? Is that an unidentified flying object? It's me. And then we kind of never saw him after that.
Yeah.
He just said next time, and that's the last we saw Rhodey in the first movie. So I think the screen time he got here was a lot more quality. It showed him as a very capable person in the War Machine armor.
And outside the War Machine armor.
And outside, definitely.
Yeah, especially in that last fight scene of the movie. But there's as much Tony and Rhodey as there is War Machine / Iron Patriot and Iron Man going around, which is, kind of funny to say when you've got like 42 different Iron Man suit rolling around, but you still had enough time for a man. And I think that was very important. Pepper.
Loved her.
Yeah, she was great. Some people have said that she, I guess, flip-flopped too much from being the damsel to being one strong motherfucker, but I didn't really get that.
It took that long for the strong motherfucker to kick in.
Yeah. Well,
and that's how I took it.
Right. Well, that and when she's wearing the Iron Man armor, which, mind you, I would have liked to seen her in just straight up rescue armor at some point during this movie. Maybe we'll get that somewhere down the road, either in an Avengers film or if there is eventually an Iron Man 4, which we'll get to later on. That would be kind of cool. But that's where she began to show her absolute, I guess, maybe growth and confidence. Because is it just me or was she the CEO in this movie still, even after saying that she was going to drop it at the end of Iron Man 2?
Yeah, she was the CEO.
Right. So that says that she's certainly had a boost of confidence since then. And even though she was all, I can't do this at the end of Iron Man 2, she certainly could do it, as she proved both in Avengers and Iron Man 3 here. Even with Extremis going on, she was able to throw that important last punch and survive getting burnt to a goddamn crisp. So I don't call you a damsel in distress if you can keep moving after shit like that.
Yeah, I think this movie, they really progress her character into like more of the Pepper we know in the comics now, especially the Pepper and Fractions run.
Oh, yeah.
As being the capable businesswoman that's kind of running everything, capable of being rescued at the same time. She's been in Iron Man armor. She had the Extremis for a little while, and it was kind of ambiguous whether they took that out. He said he fixed Pepper, so I assumed that means he took Extremis out of her, which is kind of a bummer.
Yeah. I kind of had the assumption that he took it out of her and put it into him. But
he never said that I took the Extremis to fix my RT. You just saw him getting the surgery and taking the RT out. I don't know what's going to go in its place necessarily. I don't know how you uncave your chest cavity and insert a fake sternum and attach it to your ribs again. I don't know how that works.
Artificial
I'm sure
limbs.
It's possible.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's possible. But it'll be definitely an interesting scar.
Well, if he does indeed have Extremis in him, it's going to do all the work for him.
Yeah, I guess it would. So
Yeah.
I would have liked to have had them say or come out and say I used extremis or whatever, but I guess they left it ambiguous so that if the next movie decides to use it, they can. If they don't like it, then they don't have to stick to it because it never said explicitly.
Yeah, no, that's definitely the case. Plus, what this movie had that any other movie or franchise out there right now involving a kid has. I mean, like they actually had a good kid actor who.
They didn't treat the kid like a fucking kid.
Yes, thank you. The character's name. Crap. What was the kid's name again?
Hansel. I don't know.
Hansel. No, I'm looking it up here. Here we go. Harley. Yeah, Harley Keener. That was his name. And the actor's name is Ty Simpkins. I'm sitting there going, all right, in my head, he's now the kid from Once Upon a Time. He's the kid from Walking Dead. He's just whenever you need whenever
kid from
you
Once Upon a Time is awful.
He's terrible.
He's an awful actor.
And that's like he left Mad Men for the role of Once Upon a Time on Once Upon a Time.
Well, he has more lines on Once Upon a Time, and Don Draper doesn't ignore him anymore.
But now the kid on Mad Men doesn't talk anymore because they must have replaced him with a shittier actor.
No, not true.
Yeah.
Second most recent episode, he has a conversation with Don.
All right, cool. All right, but yeah, no, Ty Simpkins. I want to see him have a career after this because he was funny. He kept up with the sarcasm with Robert Downey. You know, he had a nice back and forth going, and he was smart, and not just kid smart, but straight up smart, which is what I like to see. And it wasn't over the top or anything like that. Like,
yeah, he wasn't a smart ass. He wasn't like too smarmy. He was just a kid in today's world.
Yeah. Like, I absolutely love my dad left to go get scratch-offs. I guess he must have won because he hasn't been back for 6 years.
Yeah, I'm glad they didn't show like the kid and his mom, or we didn't meet his mom, and it wasn't like a sad sympathy story.
We didn't need to.
It was because it's one of those normal. Sadly, it's one of those normal things in today's world that just happens sometimes. You know, kids with one parent. So you don't have to make it a sap story because not all of them are.
Yeah, no, and I mean, this kid seemed to be getting along just fine. I mean, sure, he had his bullies, as we learned, but I think there are plenty of kids in similar situations to him that could very well look up to this character now, and in some way or the other. I don't want to give a freaking motivational speech here or anything. It's just I came away with a happy feeling watching the scenes between him and Iron Man because it didn't seem forced like it does in other movies where they bring in a kid.
I mean, what I liked most about this movie, I think, as far as Tony goes, is that they gave Tony. There were new dynamics for Tony to engage with in this film that weren't in the last two. I mean, in the last ones, you kind of had him, talk with people on his same level of intelligence. Fellow doctors, fellow technologists, captains of industry, or people in power situations like senators and stuff who could kind of go toe to toe with Tony. Mm-hmm. But here you saw him, the cameraman, Adam Paley from Happy Endings, hilarious. I think if they got him or if they used Schmidt from New Girl, would have been the same hilarity. Yeah. I could see both those guys doing a great job.
Oh, sure.
But definitely enjoyable here. And it was Tony dealing with, a common person who would have been excited, except this guy was just a little bit more creepy because he patterned his facial hair and stuff after Tony, which I didn't notice until he started beginning to point it out.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, he's kind of got the mustache going on here. And, of course,
I completely patterned my style after you. I don't have product or anything, so it's not perfect.
Right. Right. That was awesome. But it was Tony saying, "Okay, I got it. I need you for something. Let's get it on." He was kind of telling them to shut up at the same time the audience wanted him to.
Right.
So there wasn't so much talk that character got annoying. He was amusing for the part that he was, and then we got rid of him quickly. I would say the same thing with the kid. We've never seen Tony interact with kids before. Mm-hmm. And as soon as he would have gotten to that annoying part, Shane Black, as a screenwriter, knew to do away with him. That's when we need to leave the kid. And especially the way that Tony said goodbye was hilarious. Just left him in the car and kind of said, "Don't pussy out," or whatever it was. It was a very funny moment in the theater for me.
Yeah, well, that's and the other thing, like we had multiple kids in this movie because earlier on in the movie, he gets one of his PTSD moments when he's signing those autographs for the kids, and one of them brings up New York, and he gets all, no, New York, I had a bad hot dog there. and then has one of his freak out moments. But this, no, again, none of it felt forced. It all felt organic, and that's what was great about it. Let's talk about the villains a little bit before we get into the main plot and some of your favorite moments. We'll start things off with Savin, because
Savin,
bodyguard, Savin, yeah, otherwise known as that dude who played Chase on 24, who I didn't even realize was him until about halfway through the movie. I'm like, oh yeah, wow, I guess Extremis grew his arm back. That's good for you, man. But yeah, no, he was menacing enough. I mean, he was the typical second tier villain.
Yeah,
in situations
I liked
like this.
him. He was fun. He had that kind of smile and smirk going on. If they had gone like a really serious way with him, like if this was a Nolan film, I bet they would have cast the guy from Prison Break.
Probably.
The little brother, not the older one. That's a shitty actor.
Yeah.
The guy that's a good actor. Forget his name.
Yeah.
They would have cast him because he's got that same kind of bald look. But no, I'd never seen this guy before, but he was definitely fun. He was fun to play with, fun to watch.
You never used to watch 24?
No, never.
Wow. That was my jam back in the day.
That was my jam, yo.
He didn't pee once in 24 hours.
No, I thought he was fun. I especially liked the girl that showed up, the cop, quote unquote, the cop that showed up in the town, who was missing part of her arm and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and she turned out to be an extremist. I thought she was a lot of fun too.
Well, we had her pegged at first as Typhoid Mary when she first appeared on screen. Like we kind of were thinking that might be who it was, but then when it just turned out to be a extremist chick, that's fine. But then finding out after the fact that she's named after, what was it, Man-Thing's ex-wife? Yeah. Which is, extra funny right there, because we're certainly never going to see another Man-Thing movie, because most people forgot the first one ever frickin' happened, since it was straight to DVD.
Yeah.
But that was kind of cool. I mean, yeah, and she was menacing enough, and she did a good job of moving things across. True or false for you here, man? Like, this was sort of like a cross between Extremis and the first arc of Fraction's Invincible Iron Man.
As far as like a technology guy going head to head with Tony and destroying things he loved, sure.
Well, not just that, but also the explosions. The straight up,
they did have guys that exploded. That's right.
Yeah,
and they had Extremis in them, didn't they?
Wait,
something or other.
No, it wasn't Extremis. I think it was Nanites or something like that.
Yeah, something different.
Yeah, because at that point that was Stain that was doing that, or young Stain at least.
Ezekiel Stain.
Yeah, it's just I very much got a heavy vibe of that going on because I've read Warren Ellis's Extremis, and I obviously more recently read the Fraction Invincible Iron Man stuff, but I think they did a good job of, I guess, meshing different Iron Man stories into one, because I doubt we'd ever see Ezekiel Stain on the screen, because that I don't know, that would take too much of an explanation for me.
Like how did you not know this kid existed?
Right, exactly.
Because they changed the dynamic to be that they work together rather than rival companies, which I liked in the first film. But it was nice to have a modern Iron Man story. Definitely a very modern plot. It wasn't anything like the last two movies.
Yeah.
Nothing felt really recycled. Everything kind of felt fresh, which was nice about it.
Yep.
But everything was kept in the same tone, which is what kind of surprised me was, that first trailer we got for Iron Man 3, it seemed very dark and ominous, like this is the fucking end, and the trailer ended with everything like blinking out and Tony in the snow, and you're like, oh my gosh, we saw his house get blown up, like this looks terrible, like we're getting a dark Iron Man movie, this is going to be cool. But it turned out to be a fun exercise and in the same tone as the rest of the films, which I think at the end of the day I like better than if it had been a dark kind of Nolan-like movie, because then you would have, if you're just watching Iron Man 1, 2, and 3, you have fun, and then dark, and then kind of like leaves you going, what? It's too much of a shift that I wouldn't have enjoyed it as much on repeat viewings, but definitely he's kept the tone alive, which is good.
Oh, no, yeah, and it was dark at times, but then again, so were the other two movies.
Right.
Like it balanced things just the way that I wanted to. Do you want to bring on Donovan Morgan Grant, because he seems to be available and he had a very different opinion than us on the movie? So we'll maybe perhaps bring a dissenting opinion.
He already sent us his opinions.
Yes,
so
but then we wouldn't have to actually read it if he just straight up gave us the opinions.
But we're almost done.
How are we almost done, dude?
We're good. Let's go. We're on a roll.
That's fine.
Sorry, Donovan.
All right.
Shouldn't have emailed us your long diatribe. Would have gotten on. Now you know.
Oh dear. You know what? Screw it. I'm bringing him on. I'm doing it.
Oh no.
I'm doing an executive decision, man.
Executive decision.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll just cut him out of the episode.
Wow.
Whoa. I'll just end it right there.
Oh,
4 out of 5. Boom. Done.
Oh snap. You just don't want dissenting opinions on this damn thing.
I don't want dissenting opinions.
I think we're gonna bring him on for at least a little bit. All right, just for a little bit, because I honestly want to hear something a little bit different, just for at least a little while. So here we go. Yeah, no. So I'm bringing you on almost against Brent's well wishes. Nothing against you, but since
only
you had
because you sent us your long tirade already, so I already know everything you're going to say.
But the listeners don't. We haven't talked about it yet, so now you get to actually say it, as opposed to me sitting here reading something, which is always less interesting.
Well, speaking of less interesting, I don't want to repeat what anyone has said. So, what exactly?
Just go ahead and tell us what you thought of the movie. We're just going back and forth. So take a couple minutes. Tell us what you thought, Donovan.
Okay, all right. Iron Man 3. I didn't hate the movie, but I did have more problems with it than I did the other two. Mm-hmm. And I'm not a huge Iron Man fan. I'm not a huge reader of the comics. I have a basic sort of gen ed knowledge on the character, being a comic book fan.
Yeah.
So I kind of go into it, a comic book fan, but not an Iron Man fan necessarily. With the idea that the Mandarin is going to be in the movie, there are certain expectations that you kind of want. Not that was the only single problem I had with it, but basically the first half of the movie I really dug. Mm-hmm. I loved, Tony's anxiety attacks. I loved, War Machine being moved up in the whole Iron Patriot run. I thought that the build-up of the manager was pretty cool. The first solid half of the movie, I was really digging. And, once you get to the whole Mandarin reveal, I kind of buried my face in my hands saying, I didn't like that at all. And even at the end, I felt that the movie really kind of personally for me, there were just things I just didn't dig. I mean, for one, ultimately, War Machine was useless in the movie. I'm more of a War Machine fan than I am an Iron Man fan. And I thought that, I was really surprised that, we didn't see him do anything besides, get, his hand melted and knocked out. And I don't really pay $12 to see Don Cheadle run around with a gun when he's playing War Machine. So it's kind of that I thought was a real stupid thing to do. I honestly, when Tony says, "Oh, I don't have an armor for you, bye-bye," I was like, that's bullshit.
Well, all right. Well, let's touch on that a little bit, because Brent and I did talk ever so slightly about Cheadle and War Machine. So we'll talk about that, and then we'll transition into the Mandarin, because we're already talking villains, so we'll do that too. But I felt that, in this movie, this was all about the characters themselves. This was about Tony and Rhodey more than it was about War Machine / Iron Patriot and Iron Man. And we got to see some badass moves from both Tony and Rhodey outside of the suit, which made things, I guess, less important in the end to have him in the suit nonstop. For me, it added to it, to have him outside of the suit as much as we did in this movie. That was almost in some ways the point of the movie, was to not have him be all armor all the time. Brent, I mean, you're pretty much the same way I am on that, right?
Yeah, I think it added to the character. I think one of the biggest things that people complain about superhero movies is, especially these characters with masks, is like Spider-Man, the first trilogy of Spider, even the last fucking Spider-Man film. At the end of the movie, his mask always gets ripped off.
Oh yeah,
because they don't want to see too much of the mask or whatever, or even in Batman Returns, his mask gets ripped off. It's the actors or the writers want it to be more about the character inside of the suit. Rather than the suit itself, which I think this movie kind of meant both things at once. having so much of the characters outside the suit that it elevated their characters. You learned that Tony sucks at shooting a gun, just trying to target shot, and you learned that Don Cheadle is, an Air Force trained badass, that he doesn't necessarily need the War Machine suit to be a hero, which I think elevated the coolness of Rhodey Rhodes, so that the next time we see him in a War Machine suit, now we know that the suit is badass as fuck because we saw that in Iron Man 2, and we know that Rhodey is badass as fuck and knows how to is combat trained and stuff outside of the suit, so that when we combine those two, hopefully when next time we see War Machine, it'll be as badass as it should be.
Plus, it also set up that if for some reason Downey balks on Avengers 2, they could very well bring in Cheadle and use War Machine and say that, Tony's off doing yada, 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 and then, bring him in for the next one. Because I think Don Cheadle as a actor and Rhodey as a character proved a lot about his staying time in this movie.
It's all about exposure. I mean, Cheadle's gotten exposure from these last two films. He's got his own Showtime series.
Right.
If they throw him in the second Avengers film, he'll absolutely jump at it.
Yeah.
For sure.
Right. And I mean, we're not expecting to change your mind or anything here, Donovan. I'm just I definitely want you to see where Brent and I are coming on.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not. I'm not gonna be angry because you guys disagree. That's the best thing about comic podcasts. We can open up a dialogue and
Oh sure, yeah. Right, exactly.
And like with Tony, at first I was kind of like, okay, we're just gonna go with him outside the suit, and he was buying some stuff, and I was like, great, we're gonna get some shitty ass Iron Man suit built out of pillows and sheet metal and stuff like that. But no, he turned it into a secret agent and shit like that. Like, he was walking up, and I was like, okay, this is gonna be lame. And then he started using the things he had that he built. And then I was like, oh, that's fucking cool. He built his own gun and his hand warmer thing.
MacGyver
was like
that shit.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was like that, Donovan, the point I made earlier was the point of the movie was Tony to say, I am Iron Man. He made it at the end of the first film. He made it at the end of the third. But the third film was to prove that point, that he doesn't need the suit necessarily to be Iron Man. It's that it's ingrained in him. And that part where he was like secret agent Tony, that to me like put the icing on the cake for that
Metal
point.
Gear Tony.
Metal Gear Tony, yeah. Just MacGyver Tony. It just, made the point that he doesn't need the suit necessarily to be a hero. And I think that elevated the characters, which is what normally doesn't happen in a third film. If you look at Spider-Man 3 X3, the characters get sidelined kind of for plot or more inserted characters. Kitty Page, Juggernaut, Venom, Sandman, what's her pay? The blonde Gwen Stacy in Spider-Man 3. Usually in trilogies at the end of the trilogy we get more characters and less of the main guys. Where here we kind of got to focus on them, which I kind of think is the secret.
Well, I agree with everything you guys are saying. And with respect to Don Cheadle and Stark kind of being on the costume, I had no problem with it. All throughout, I kind of understood, the whole second act. We need to see Tony do stuff and see him how vulnerable he was and how strong he was outside of the suit. I totally get that. I thought in the last final act where you said, the big boss fight, I did think it was sort of like fleeting from the whole concept of the movie. Not the movie, but you go for an Iron Man movie to see Iron Man, and I understand you need to build, develop Tony and Rhodey, but when there are 24 armors around there, you don't really want to see Robert Downey Jr. jump from one, get it destroyed, jump from another, get it destroyed, and not have any real Iron Man action. And when Rhodey is saying, I need some armor, let me have some armor, we have seen it. I think there's a certain expectation that he is going to be a badass because he is military. So when there's all this sort of stuff flying around and he gets nothing, and even when he's Iron Patriot, he kind of just walks around. To me, that was really disappointing because by that point you kind of use up your reasons to not have them do stuff in their armor.
Well, I think that's also the fundamental difference between, I think, maybe how you approached the movie coming in as opposed to the way that I approached it. I wasn't seeing this movie to see Iron Man. I was seeing this movie to see Tony. As much as I was seeing it to see, Iron Man all armored up or whatever.
Iron Man, man.
I'm much more about character than I am boom, 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 fight, 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 fight. And this was as much a character piece as it was, I'm gonna go shoot my lasers all over the place and bust shit up. And we got that out of out of not only Tony in this, but Rhodey and Pepper and even the Mandarin in one way or the other, where you got to really, I guess, maybe see what was going on inside their heads and get to know them as people as much as you got to know them as these characters on the screen that wind up being that. Because, Spider-Man's nothing without Peter Parker. And just like the same way that, Bruce Wayne is Batman as much as Batman is Bruce Wayne, Clark Kent is Superman, this was discovering Tony Stark just about as much as you did in the first movie, but in different ways. It wasn't an origin movie, but it was just like giving us extra layers peeled from that onion to make me appreciate the character even more in these movies.
Yeah, if he pops up in Avengers 2, he'll definitely be more appreciated after everyone has seen Iron Man 3. And,
definitely.
Definitely that they won't have to focus so much on building his character. They can just let him riff and stuff and let him be Tony because you know exactly what he's about.
Right.
Well, I understand and I agree with all those points, but do you think that, because I'm not going to say there wasn't any action in this movie because I can't legitimately say that, but there was a certain expectation that I had of Iron Man doing stuff. Really,
dude, you had 30 Iron Man suits doing stuff.
Well, no. I know what did.
He got in the Silver Centurion armor, and instead of just seeing it on the side, he walked around.
Freaking Hulkbuster fucking up shit.
Well, that's the thing. Well, okay, we saw Hulkbuster, we saw Silver Centurion, and then 10 seconds later they're destroyed. But
it was all in the scheme of the fight, though.
I don't know. It felt to me like though it was. I thought it could be a little bit more. I don't know.
Well, let me point this out though, Donovan, because in the scope of the movie, going back to that again, and I think I've used that term 17 times now, so I should really use something else next time. But in the movie itself, he's on Armor 42, and this is a prototype, just like everything else is a prototype.
Everything was a prototype?
That's what I gathered from the movie, is that all of these were quote unquote backup armors or on to the next step of the drawing board. These were
technically speaking from the government side, when we do production lines and stuff, if you only make one, it's a prototype.
Right. Unless
you put it into a production line, then those things that come off the production line, they're no longer prototypes. Sure. But if he only makes one of something, it's technically a prototype.
Right.
So I got the sense that Mark 42 was the latest armor, which was legitimately a prototype, but everything else that come before it, that's why they're all assembled. I don't think that they were all half done.
I was assuming he was still working on Mark 42 and everything else was done. But okay, but back to what you're saying.
I might be wrong.
You said it in your message and before about it kind of being a cop out that no armor for Rhodey. I was previously before I just thought of this when you were talking, but when I was reading your message you sent us before, I was going to say there's no RT, so there's nothing to power them, which obviously isn't true because they're all automated during this time.
Right.
But going back to the second film, after we know that Rhodey's able to pilot a suit and just hop in one, so he hopped in the Mark II, was able to pilot it off. So the government essentially stole his armor and then changed it not once but twice. I don't think that Tony, as an inventor and someone who values his intellectual property and stuff like that, would have been able to create anything after 7. That anyone else would be able to pilot for that specific reason. That he doesn't want anybody else hopping into it and taking control of it. Now, Pepper, on the other hand, wasn't actually doing anything. She was just being loose while the armor was automated to take her the fuck out of there.
Right.
So, because he still had that headset on. So I think that kind of – hopefully it explains for some people why it might have been a story reason that I pulled out of my ass that, Rhodey wasn't able to jump in like Tony was the whole time. Secondly – So the other thing I'm thinking that maybe you didn't like is that you didn't think that you saw enough of the other 42 armors fighting the other extremist guys. This goes back to our point about this all being, most movies you want to see the characters, or the writers like to showcase the characters inside the suit, not the suit themselves. Yeah, we got a couple of shots of these suits taking over these extremist things and big wide shots, but if we had seen an empty suit fighting these extremist things, we wouldn't necessarily be invested in what comes out of it. It wouldn't have mattered. Yeah, it would have been cool, but it would have just been excess fat to the movie. And I think the thing that kind of would have ruined it too is we had that whole gag with Air Force One. We thought Tony was in this suit doing those things the whole time, and then it turns out he wasn't in the suit at all. Now we know that there's nobody in these suits, so we're not invested in what happens anymore, you know? So that's why I think that they didn't focus on these suits fighting all these other generic extremist guys. You know, we knew there were a ton of them. We saw some glimpses, some highlights and stuff like that, but past that, I don't really want to see anything unless there's a character in the suit that I'm invested in. You know what I mean?
No, that makes sense. And again, I'm not going to argue that like we should have seen everyone just take on, all at once or one at a time. What I would have liked to have seen, because the fight. I know I've only seen it once, so this is going off of my showing from last Thursday. But like, it really did become Tony platform jumping from suit to suit, while it got easily. I thought a bit too easily destroyed, and ultimately it was like Tony avoiding danger, and trying to get his hits in. And I understand. You build up a character where I see what he is without the armor. I understand all of that, and I accept all of that, but. At some point, you really do want to see him as Iron Man do stuff. And throughout this movie, I thought you saw less of that than he did in all of the other two movies. And that legitimately disappointed me.
Well, and the other thing that, and this was one of the few things that I pointed out that I was negative about was, can you imagine the amount of money that Tony lost this movie alone? Like, he just threw out millions of dollars on these like 42 prototypes or 30 prototypes or whatever amount that he actually had there, and they're all just scrap now. Like, how much money does Tony Stark have? Holy crap, he has more money than probably the entire like U.S. economy in order to bounce back and still have anything after that.
There's no house and no line of defense.
Yeah, like, is S.H.I.E.L.D. bankrolling him now? What the hell?
Man.
It's the only thing, and I frickin' loved that we had Iron Patriot the way we did in this movie, though, because to take an IP like Iron Patriot, because we knew that we would never get Norman Osborn because he's in the Spider-Man universe and that's where he's going to stay, but to take the concept of Iron Patriot and transform it the way they did for this movie, I felt worked very well for the plot and very well for the character. Will we see him as War Machine in later movies? Who knows? But, at least we got Iron Patriot this way here, and I felt it really worked that way.
I did like the fact that they kept on saying that War Machine was a better name.
Oh, because it is.
Absolutely. That's why I loved it as a kid. War Machine, that's the most awesome name ever.
Yeah, seriously. Brett, what would you rather be, Iron Patriot or War Machine?
Fucking War Machine.
Damn right.
War Machine. It's like Marvel vs. Capcom. Every time you would pick it, it's like War Machine. It's like, that sounds amazing.
And I kept flashing back to the 90s animated series where Rhodey had claustrophobia and Tony didn't. It's like, no, this time around Tony's got the problem, but Rhodey's like, I'm good.
Absolutely.
Typical black guy, cooler than the white guy.
That's right. I'm looking at both of you now.
Oh, snap. We'll move things along because we were talking about the villains previous to this conversation here. We mentioned Savin, or however you pronounce his name. I'm going to get it wrong every single time. Savin. Aldrich Killian / the Mandarin, because you really got to talk about them both here. And one thing we didn't touch on, like, the minute this movie started, I knew it was going to be different than previous films because of the soundtrack. Okay?
Oh, yes.
Because you start out Jean Favreau movies and you've got that AC/DC blasting. You've got Back in Black, or you've got Iron Maiden playing with Iron Man. And how does this movie start out? Blue.
Yeah.
I love that song. I've always loved it ever since I was like 10 years old in 1999.
Yeah, no, it was totally a flashback for me too. But and then, like, holy crap, they managed to make Robert Downey Jr. look much younger. Like, the amount of makeup and special effects that they must have used to do that. Like, they did a damn good job of making him feel like it was 1999.
I thought it was his clothes. Like, I've only seen it once. So.
The clothes too. No, that's definitely part of it. But it's the typical movie makeup though. Like whether you're using age makeup or whether you're using reverse age makeup, there are practices you can use to make people look really younger. But he looked like he did in the first Iron Man movie, if not even before then, like when he was on freaking Ally McBeal. Like, that's That's how good I felt he looked in there. But that's the first time we see Aldrich Killian. And you see him, and he looks like he just walked off the set of a Spider-Man movie. Like,
Off of Harry Potter.
Or Harry Potter or something like that. Yeah, where he's, he obviously has handicaps and possibly even mental handicaps. And when you see him later on...
He looks like the divinations teacher from the Harry Potter movies.
A little bit.
I've heard Edward Nygma from Batman Forever thrown out there.
I can see that.
Same
He had
kind of
a
idea
hunch.
too.
Had a hunch.
Yeah.
Have you guys read the Extremist storyline?
Yes. Yeah. No. We both have.
How does this compare to that? Because the character's in that too, right?
Yeah. Killian is the other guy that invents the formula, and he kills himself in the first issue or second issue or something like that. But basically, all you know of him is the suicide note he quote unquote left. And Savin is really the guy in that comic book storyline who's the villain. And Tony comes up against him, and he does all the shit that he does in this movie. He breathes fire and is like healable and super strong and stuff like that, and can heal him. I don't think the healing himself is as prominent as it is here.
Mm-hmm. But he definitely does have at least some sort of healing factor.
But he's the guy that Tony goes against for 6 issues, and that's why Tony gets the Extremis upgrade. But Tony changes the Extremis program for himself, so that's how he talks to machines and stuff. Like, he gets the healing stuff, but he doesn't get all the superpowers. He'd rather talk to machines than breathe fire, which I guess makes sense for Iron Man, because then you'd have to open your mask flap to do all that. But if it came out of his butt, I think that would be pretty cool in the Jack Black comic reboot.
I will punch you so hard, Brent.
But the fact that they made the villain the guy that he had a relationship with, whereas in the Extremis book, it's just this random thug that gets shot with Extremis and that Tony goes up against. You really don't give a shit about the villain character at all. You just know that he's strong, and Tony has to get stronger to fight him.
Yeah, and they and as I said earlier on in this episode, like they did do a little bit of combining of storylines here, because the way that Extremis is used to be almost as like an explosive is somewhat similar to the way that that Ezekiel Stane was blowing people up in that first Invincible Iron Man arc that Matt Fraction wrote. So they did their best to, I guess, take some of the best parts of certain Iron Man storylines and mesh them together to make one cohesive unit here. And obviously, Mandarin had nothing to do with Extremis the first time it came along, but adding in that extra layer there, I think, was a good touch for this particular movie.
Yeah, I just assumed, just out of ignorance, that Extremis meant that he could sort of like kind of have the suit come on him like a symbiote or something. So I had no point of reference.
Yes and no. I mean, it did sort of let him, like, it's similar to the way he used like nanites at one point or another. Like the suit and him are one with Extremis, but to the extent of where like he can mind control it and he can summon it at will and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, that's how it started out in Ellis's run, and then Fraction, like in Ellis's run, basically all the Extremis did was let him talk to the machines like wirelessly in his fucking brain or something.
Yeah.
And then in the comic books he needed this undersheath like wetsuit to interface with the suit. They never established that in the movies, so they don't need it necessarily. It doesn't really make sense for me, but Fraction evolved Extremis to a point where not just the undersheath was in his skin, but the entire suit itself can be retracted a la a symbiote and stuff like that later on. So he got a little whacked out later on, but it's pretty close to Ellis's vision of Extremis here, even though he doesn't really use it or get it.
No,
as far as Tony does.
Which Ellis are you talking about, President Ellis or Warren Ellis?
That's right. But going back to Killian, at the end when he's like, it was all me, Tony, from the very beginning, thwack, and, Pepper hammers him and stuff like that. Now, were you thinking that he was making the point that as the Mandarin, he was behind the whole 10 Rings kidnapping fiasco and everything from the first movie, or was just talking specifically about this movie?
That's up to interpretation, yeah. Because
I was kind of taking it as like you could interpret it that way. He was behind it from the very beginning, but then Pepper is Shane Black in the audience, kind of smacking him, going, "We don't care."
Right, and that's kind of where I am too. Like once I see it again, because I'm seeing it again on Friday, I'll let you know what I think about it even further, because I'm going to be paying a lot more attention to the smaller details on the second viewing than I was in the first one. But from that first viewing, I'll say it's completely up to whether you feel like it or not. Like, if you want to say that the Ten Rings were involved with the, that he was involved with the Ten Rings since the start, yada, 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 you go right ahead. Like, you go right down that rabbit hole. I'm sure there's a bunch of Tumblr posts that you can read that are fully explaining it even more than I am right now. But if you just want to say that he was involved with Iron Man 3, that's also possible, because they could say that that the Ten Rings were something else entirely in further movies, or they could not bring it up again because it's a frickin' movie. There's drop plots all the time. Who frickin' cares?
Well, that was the thing I was thinking, because again, going back to, like, I don't know if you guys thought of the manager or not, but
could have
like,
just been a name, yeah.
The Ten Rings thing was set up in one. So, like, when they kind of pull the bait and switch in this movie with the Mandarin, I was like, what the fuck? What happened to the thing that was in, like, 2008? Like,
right.
So
it could have just been a name, dude. It could have just been a name.
If this movie implies that Guy Pearce was behind that terrorist organization, I won't really like that. But I guess it does explain it, at least.
So you have a problem with the way that the Mandarin was portrayed. I'm going to say why I liked it, and then you can say why you didn't like it, and then Brent can say what the way he liked it, so we can sandwich you and make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich out of this. But I really was okay with the way they did Mandarin here. If they had decided to go full-on Mandarin, they would have had to explain probably that these were Asgardian artifacts that had fallen, and that's the way that they would have had to do it here. But you know what? We're already getting the Infinity Gauntlet, more than likely, in either Guardians of the Galaxy or Avengers 2. And you've got your cosmic elements going on right there. I kind of don't feel you needed any sort of cosmic elements or magic elements in the Iron Man franchise in particular. Because, yes, you do have a couple of flashes to Avengers in the movie via his PTSD, but Iron Man has always been more grounded. Deciding not to go full-on Ten Rings, I felt was perfect for this universe. And to have the switch they did here also felt very modern, because in today's society, with stuff like Fox News and the 24-hour news cycle, and how we all are, on the edge of our seats the minute that we hear the word terrorism, we're immediately going to freak the hell out if some foreign dude comes on our TV and says he's going to go and kill our children. And that's what we had here with Ben Kingsley as the Mandarin. But in reality, it's frickin' big business. Again, very, very modern. That's pulling the strings. Like, we had a frickin' Enron situation or Halliburton or anything like that. And they're the ones that are actually, funding the terrorism, yada, yada, yada. And that is as menacing to me as a dude with 10 rings sitting on a throne caressing his concubines. Like, so that's why I feel Aldrich Killian worked as a villain, and why the Mandarin reveal worked for me. And because Ben Kingsley is the frickin' man, and I can believe anything he does as an actor, because I didn't see it coming.
He was exactly right.
Yes. Go ahead, Donovan, your dissenting opinion.
Okay, well, let me stand up here. Well, okay. Again, I'm not. I would be lying if I said I was an Iron Man fan who desperately set his life upon seeing the Mandarin brought to the screen. I would be lying. I don't want to lie. But at the same time,
but you're acting that way. Go ahead.
All right, yeah, that's the asshole.
You're playing the part, just like Ben Kingsley played the part of the Mandarin.
Well, no, these are my legitimate feelings, because even though I'm not, Iron Man's not my favorite character, you do go in with a certain expectation of seeing Robert Downey Jr.'s Tony Stark going up against that type of antagonism, and really having that sort of that arch enemy relationship, which a lot of comic fans, I think a lot of mainstream movie fans would really like to see. And I thought that taking a possible relationship between this Tony Stark and having his real balls out arch enemy, and replacing it with this sort of cynical Richard Brand or whatever the dude's name is,
Branson.
I'm thinking about the guy who was with Katy Perry.
Freaking, damn it. Why can't I think of his name all of a sudden? And I usually do.
Yeah, that guy. Him.
Yeah. Russell Brand, yeah.
Russell Brand. Like sort of like Russell Brand, kind of like, ole, I'm watching soccer, and, my bitches are playing ping pong. Isn't this funny? Like, I really didn't like that. And I think that, like, it kind of goes in line to me. This is subjective, so, this is where I kind of come off as the bad guy. But I feel as though these movies are really mainstream friendly, and that's not a bad thing at all. But there are aspects of them which do, I feel, shy away from the way the plot could have worked, more as a straightforward comic movie. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but I think with a lot of things with this third one, I feel like, again, I thought that he wasn't in the armor as much as I would have liked to see. And I think that, like, taking it's not so much taking an Iron Man villain, but Tony's arch villain and making him, like, to be literally a joke. One, I don't think you can argue that's, like, probably the worst handling, at least in terms of, like, translation, that any supervillain has in a comic movie.
Galactus as a cloud.
Well, at least it was a danger to the planet. This is like taking him and saying that's not him. And it might work with the movie, but honestly, what we got to me wasn't as fun or wasn't as interesting as what we could have gotten. And I feel that I honestly I felt like it was a really cynical kind of way to have it. Have the big bad be just another businessman. Because you could argue that maybe it's a little bit too out there for Tony to go up against a guy with extraterrestrial powers like he did in the Avengers movie. But at the same time, that is the character. That's what Iron Man does. It's similar in the Batman movies. He's fighting the mob. He's fighting the Joker. He's fighting the League of Assassins or Shadows. He's fighting multiple different dangers. I don't think you need to kind of hold the audience's hand and give them one sort type of villain at a time, because the characters that they're adapting for these movies deal with different sort of threats.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, no. I just need to cut in for a minute to say this. The character of Iron Man, just about every single villain that he has is technology-based in one way or the other.
Yeah, Mandarin is kind of the outlier.
Yes, Mandarin is the odd man out, because you've got a giant freaking robot in Ultimo. You've got Blizzard. You've got...
the Melter.
The Melter. Yeah, you've got Tornado Guy.
Spy Master.
Yeah, yes, yeah.
Ghost.
Thank you. You've got all of these characters are technology-based.
Buzzsaw.
Yup. Yeah, no, we could go on all day naming...
Living Laser.
Living Laser, yes.
A Living Laser, yeah.
Yeah, just about everybody other than the Mandarin. And if you want to say Doctor Doom, if you consider him, but guess what? He's got technology too, and he's not technically an Iron Man villain, even though they've had their moments where they've gone back in time and they've fought and yada, yada, yada. But just about everybody other than the Mandarin is technology-based. So if you're saying that Tony faces all these other villains like that, no, he just faces the Mandarin like that. That's it.
Okay, well, I sit corrected, but the fact of the matter is that, even if the Mandarin isn't that is an Iron Man villain.
He's also racist as shit. So there is that.
Donovan, I've got a great solution to your problem.
Here we go.
I'm listening.
It has a couple steps involved depending on where you're at. Number one, it requires a Netflix subscription.
Oh, God. Here we go.
Number two, it requires a search bar. And it's very simple. Since it's probably not on Redbox and Blockbuster technically doesn't exist anymore. Or you could go to Best Buy.
Not even technically. It doesn't exist, man.
Well, it doesn't exist anymore, but it's really easy. There's a great little animated film called Iron Man that was produced in 2007 and came out just before the first Iron Man movie, if not the same time. So
it was pretty much at the same time, yeah.
It's Iron Man. It's an animated film produced by Marvel Studios. It's an original adaptation of the origin story involving the Mandarin. It is a great film.
It is.
A great Iron Man film.
Yes.
And I want to watch it again, but when I first watched it before the first Iron Man movie came out, I was like, I don't know how they're going to beat this because this was fucking fantastic. And they used the Mandarin exactly the way that you probably think he would have been used in this movie had they done him seriously. So if anybody really wants to see the Mandarin and were disappointed with this one, I would point you to that and go get your kick of the Mandarin and enjoy that, because that is a great place to go for a great animated Iron Man Mandarin story. And they get real mystical Chinese, like Shaolin dragons and shit, and it's whacked out crazy.
Yeah, that would be the Invincible Iron Man is the full name of it. Yes,
but it's great. So I would point you to that, my friend. Borrow a Netflix password for one night if you have to.
I have Netflix.
Ask your friends.
Yeah.
But it's definitely there. It's definitely available, and it's definitely a good
Both
interpretation.
that and the Doctor Strange movie that they did at that time are
I've seen the
very
Doctor
good.
Strange movie.
Yeah.
The Doctor Strange movie is decent.
Mhm.
Let me just finish real quick.
Go ahead, dude.
Okay. Well, I mean, I think you guys are coming from the perspective, and I don't want to misinterpret what you're saying here, but I think coming from the perspective that like in this series of movies, the Mandarin just could not be done.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of feel that's this sort of mindset you're coming from. I mean, and I disagree. It's like, I don't know. I mean, that feels like a very sort of like closed-minded, exclusive sort of like way to look at the villains. I mean, if he's an Iron Man character, do him, And I don't know. I mean, to me, there's no reason why they couldn't just, it was Ben Kingsley, first of all. It wasn't even a Chinese dude. And, they kind of made him this sort of like Al-Qaeda jerk-off where, he was sort of this terrorist. And I also get the feeling, this is not necessarily a bad thing, but I get the feeling that there was a lot of, they were sort of taking the fear, the sort of post-9/11 kind of mindset and making fun of it, which in itself is not a bad thing because you want to make people feel better. And, in this sort of, era, it's nice to kind of poke fun at that sort of, thing. But at the same time, I thought that would not have been as fun as seeing, I don't know, Robert Downey Jr. and Ben Kingsley punch each other in the face. I mean, as barbaric and dumb as that sounds, it really is. I mean, we have Batman, the Joker. You have Xavier, Magneto from the X-Men movies. You have these really good guy, bad guy relationships that I think in this sort of movie with an awesome protagonist like Downey Jr.'s Iron Man, you really would have got sunk your teeth into seeing. And I thought that to kind of trade that in for what's going to be immediately dated joke about this kind of this drug dealer named Trevor. I just thought that was not necessarily insulting to the audience, although I could say that, but also it was really sort of a wasted opportunity, and it was so much of a wasted opportunity that it really did hold the movie back for me a great deal. Honestly,
no, what's insulting to the audience is the audience in China, where the name Mandarin was actually changed to Mandarin. I could not make that up if I tried. They added in extra scenes as well, special, specifically Chinese exclusive scenes, which I'm sure will wind up on a Blu-ray or something like that. And I heard
to nothing.
And these scenes are terrible. From every single thing I have heard, they are in there it's almost like as if you were watching an Iron Man movie and all of a sudden a Volkswagen pulled up and a Volkswagen commercial just started in the middle of it. That's the way that these scenes work.
The number one Chinese actress in there for some reason or something?
Yes. Whose last name is actually Bing Bing, or first name, because I forget how Chinese surnames work. So yeah,
fulfills the old joke.
Yes. But you know what, Brent, put him in his place. Make it happen. Come on.
Put me in my place. Yeah, do that.
I would argue that once you view the Iron Man animated movie, I think that'll fulfill your need.
Yeah.
Not to put you in your place, but I agree with Ian. I definitely think that as a trilogy of films, the mystical wonderkind voodoo shit would not have fit in the films.
Right.
If you're looking at just Iron Man 1, 2, and 3 by themselves.
Right.
If you throw the Avengers in there, of course it works. But I think you want to make these 3 films stand alone by themselves as a trilogy. And that's why, I was kind of sad that they always kind of called it New York, New York, New York, when I think the better marketing move would have been to say, when the Avengers assembled, since that's the foreign name of the film is Avengers Assemble, then you'd be like, what's that movie called? Oh, yeah, they said it 1,000 times.
Yeah.
But, they just kind of called it New York or, the incident, stuff like that.
I survived the Battle of New York. I have that T-shirt.
Right. That's okay with me. I get it. But, they said it enough times for you to kind of go, okay, I know where this takes place in that trilogy, but at the same time, I know he went through some bad shit, but I don't have to see that movie in order to understand it. So whatever the Battle of New York was, in this movie, it could have been anything. You know what I mean? In the context. I can't remember if they had flashbacks and stuff like that, like actual scenes from New York. I can't remember.
There were a couple when he was sleeping.
But did they have
which also was a frightening ass scene. Sorry to break in here for a minute, but I realized we didn't mention that when him and Pepper are in the bed and he's having that horrible nightmare, and then the Iron Man suit shows up and gets right in Pepper's face. Oh my god, yeah, that was creepy as shit.
Did they show the wormhole and stuff like that? I can't remember.
They did, yes. Yeah, they showed him flying back down to Earth, and the wormhole, yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, outside of those scenes, that could have been anything.
Mhm.
It could have been a terrible war-torn battle,
Right.
a modern thing.
Yeah.
The fact that they showed it kind of it doesn't kill my point all in all. But I think as a trilogy, when these movies stand alone, if you watch 1, 2, and 3 together, it'll be a lot better than tonally if they're all tech villains, because that's what Tony excels at.
Right.
And I think if Tony had gone up against the Mandarin and he turned out to be something else villain, this Tony, he might have been like, "Fuck this! I'm going to go call Thor." And this is his deal. He's the guy with the magic hammer. Like, I'm a tech guy. I'm getting out of here. This is nothing I can really deal with.
Yeah.
Yeah, I disagree.
I mean, these obviously the Extremis kind of pushes that a little bit, but it's so much advanced technology. Tony got a handle on it, or thought he could get a handle on it, and somehow reverse stuff like that. The special powers notwithstanding, I think that's kind of where it was coming from. But yeah, honestly, I don't have a problem with it. I'm glad they included it, but also at the same time, there's nothing really to defend the Mandarin with. There's nothing to say, oh, they didn't do the Mandarin justice. Well, justice to what? With the Joker or Two-Face, they didn't do him justice. Well, justice to what? Well, okay, here's some great Joker stories. I can slam my dick down on the table and show you how big it is. The laughing fish, the man who laughs, all these other different classics, Joker stories, Two-Face stories, stuff like that. There's really no classic Mandarin story. He was just a handful of appearances, and really, I think what made the Mandarin the most recognizable Iron Man villain is probably him in that 90s animated series.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Other than that, in the comics, he's really not that big of a deal until he popped up in Director of S.H.I.E.L.D., which was a great story with him. A lot of people that goes unnoticed, written by the Knopf's father and son team. And then most recently in Fraction's Iron Man run where I think Fraction went a little stir crazy and made him alien rings and shit like that. That was kind of weird. I didn't dig that. So to me, there's no classic Mandarin stories to really like measure against. So it's okay that he wasn't a real person for me. He was a credible threat. He fit in with the world. It definitely plays with today. I'll agree with Ian there. I think he made a really good point. And the thing that I didn't go in expecting there to be a 10-ring energy battle with Iron Man repulsor race, because all the stuff I saw in the trailer was just the Mandarin pontificating.
Yeah.
And that's what I got. And I was kind of wondering, too, coming out of the film, I was like, well, now I remember why we didn't see any – if the Mandarin was going to go against Iron Man like 10 rings to repulsor and unibeam and stuff like that, we would have gotten a shot of it probably in the trailer.
Right. And we did get a unibeam. It just wasn't against the Mandarin.
We did get a unibeam, but, I mean, we would have seen something else in the trailer to kind of clue us in that there's this big, massive battle at the end.
Yep.
Including the Mandarin, other than what we got.
There was even some Mandarin voiceover that we got in the trailer that we didn't get in the movie.
Right. So I think that they portrayed the Mandarin in the trailers as he was in the film, and not necessarily. So if you went in expecting something different, you're coming at it with an expectation from the comics and not necessarily from the history of the films.
I also really want Ben Kingsley to use that voice more often, like especially like for advertisements for other things, like try the new Honda Elantra. It's just so out of left field and so like almost like the best way to put it is without accent. He did his best to be like exactly as Tony described him as, like the preacher man, like that's the accent that Mandarin was putting on, and it's one of those things that when you hear it, it's just you can't get it out of your head for days afterwards. I found myself slipping into it at just random parts, like for the next 4 days.
If you want a great Ben Kingsley moment, definitely go watch his interview on Colbert from last week. Hilarious. Him and Colbert going toe to toe. Just in hilarity. It's definitely a fun thing to watch. Not Mandarin related, but Ben Kingsley awesomeness related.
Oh, and one more thought, since we haven't actually brought her up, Maya, the character.
Who fucking cares?
Well, okay, but
why was she there?
I don't. She's a plot twist.
She is a plot twist, and she was treated, quite differently than she was in the comics. But I find it very amusing that she was killed off in the comics like right before this movie came out.
Did Gillen kill her?
Yeah.
Oh,
in his first issue.
Read that. Oh. Nice. Okay.
In Gillen's first issue of Iron Man, Maya dies, and then they start this whole Extremis arc in Gillen's run.
Oh,
Yeah.
with land art.
Yeah.
I didn't like her death scene though. It was like, like I'm going to capture Gwyneth Paltrow and Tony Stark. Wait, you're going to tell me you're going to hurt them? You can't do that. That wasn't part of the plan. That's a really
agree.
stupid way to
I
die.
actually completely agree with you on that, dude. I feel that she was a wasted character for the most part. She did have some good moments, but she could have been a lot more.
Like I don't know where this actress is from, Rebecca Hall. So I didn't really care for her.
She was in The Town, and she was also in The Prestige, and she's a really good actress. She's like a British actress, and I thought that her kind of talent was wasted in it.
In The Prestige, I don't remember her from The Prestige. I remember her from The Town, and I remember her being not that hot there either.
Jesus.
I think they should have just thrown in Olivia Munn here and called it a done deal. It would have been a lot better because that way I could see how Tony would be attracted to her. Because I don't think Rebecca.
I can't see Olivia Munn being like a super botanist.
Hey, she's super smart on the Newsroom show, and she proves her chops.
Brent, I am calling a mulligan on your Olivia Munn because
come on,
we needed
not seen the first 15 minutes of Magic Mike,
dude,
worth every penny.
We needed an actress who can move the top of her head.
All I gotta say is Magic Mike would have made this. Proves my point.
I agree too. We needed Channing Tatum to play the role of Maya Hansen. I think
No. Her appearance in Magic Mike, worth every penny.
Do we get to see the boobies?
Yes.
Ooh.
Google it. I'm sure it's if you turn off your safe image search, it'll pop up.
Yeah, because I totally always
safe image search?
Yeah, come on, seriously, dude. Like, unless I'm at work.
That's the default. That's the default.
Yeah, the default that everyone turns off like 8 minutes into using Google. So let's get to favorite moments of the film and least favorite moments of the film. We'll give me two of each, and I'll start off with Brent.
Truck smash and follow the mullet.
When was that?
Follow the Mullet was in the '99 preview. In the beginning in the 1999 part where Happy is like follow the mullet, which was great. Oh, and that truck smash, that completely had me.
Yeah,
that completely had me fooled.
Had everybody fooled.
Yeah, I mean, yet again, it was the Chekhov's gun of the movie. Having that headset earlier on, and then of course it plays an important part in the best damn chain scene I have ever seen in a movie.
That's why he didn't bother to take it off when he was telling her that she was important.
Yep,
you had to stare at it in order for it to realize it was important.
and the worst parts of the movie for you?
Maya Hansen, and I don't know what the second one would be.
Okay, that works. Donovan, best and worst.
Let's see. I really enjoyed the siege on Tony Stark's place.
Mm-hmm.
I like that whole action sequence. I thought was really good. Like it was really, really impressive. Second best scene. I'd like to say the plane scene, but that was honestly spoiled for me in one of the trailers. So I wasn't in much suspense. Probably the first appearance of all the armors, because the fact they actually legitimately had Silver Centurion in there was pretty awesome.
Oh yeah, mm-hmm.
They were recognizably that one, because I thought that was Silver Centurion was the red and silver one in the second movie, but this was with the shoulder patch and all that stuff. So
it was great.
That was cool,
and all the thank yous. Oh, and that's I'm gonna have to link to it on the Comic Timing feed because I linked to it on my personal, but I haven't linked it on the Comic Timing yet. There's 7 things you may not have noticed in the Iron Man film was an article that came out, and one of them is just how freaking long the credits are. Marvel was fucking with everyone with those credits, okay? Those credits are about 10 minutes long because they knew everyone would be waiting for that last scene. They put in fake names out the wazoo.
For real?
Yes.
Are you serious?
Yes, they did. There are credits for people that don't exist. There's a credit at one point for, I think, Kenneth Quautro.
that is professional trolling.
Yes, it absolutely is. That's why those credits are so goddamn long. So I'll link to it on the Facebook feed, and I might even put it in the show notes for the episode. But look that up at some point. 7 things in the movie you might not have noticed.
I got my new least favorite moment. Stan Lee cameo, just because they shoved him in the back, just like Avengers did. I think Stan Lee deserves a moment like he got in Amazing Spider-Man, where it's clearly Stan Lee.
Hey,
or you know,
he had a girl on every arm.
I don't want him on a television feed anymore. He was like that in Avengers. He's like that in Iron Man 3. Like, there's no reason 90. That Marvel Studios should be treating Stan Lee any worse than Fox Studios. Come on.
All right. But he had a girl on every arm, and that's exactly how Stan Lee likes it.
By the way, I went to college in Chattanooga. We have no beauty contests like that. That was bullshit. Whatever.
My favorite two scenes are definitely the final fight scene with the 30 armors and everything. That was absolutely badass, and I freaking loved it. And I really like that line when Jarvis is starting back up, where he's like, where Tony asks him how his systems are, and Jarvis is like, "Well, I'm just about functional. Only it's always one word at the end of my sentence: artichoke."
Yeah, that was good stuff.
So yeah, I really like that. Least favorite moments in it. Soccer was in this film, and soccer's not a real sport. Come on, I'm an American. I had to make at least one soccer joke.
Like the majority of the planet.
And I didn't like the fact that probably the thing I liked the least about this movie is that they went for the generic evil vice president. Because,
that was crazy. No, it's Vice President Miguel Ferrer. He's obviously evil.
Well, okay, fine. That's the thing that I like least about this movie, that Miguel Ferrer was evil again. Like, he's always freaking evil. I want him to be the good guy for once.
He's like, I'll get right on it. I'll hang up the phone.
and he turns around and twists his mustache. He's like, I'll get right on Carl Rhodes. And he just turns around. I was like, what the fuck? What? That was ridiculous. That was funny.
I love you, crippled daughter. Like, oh, that's why.
That's the only legitimate reason why.
Yeah, because he truly wanted a daughter that could light on fire at any moment when she gets pissed off.
He loves his daughter so much he would crucify the president over oil in an Iron Man costume to save her. that's a fucking. I was my least favorite because I don't think I said it was like the Mandarin, obviously, and War Machine's lack of action.
Yeah. All right, that's fine.
Yeah. I got another least favorite moment, and this applies for all the summer movies.
Go ahead, dude.
How come it opens earlier in the world than here?
Okay, dude.
Yeah.
Do you know how often we get movies months before everywhere else?
So
the reason it happens, and this
Star Trek, Marvel movies, they're fucking American franchises.
The reason
I don't want England and Europe and them seeing it before me, and potential spoilers being out there from lay people.
Number one,
from lay people.
Lay people. Hey, we're getting Star Trek in the middle of a week, so that's at least better than most. Like, because I remember last Star Trek, it technically came out on a Friday, but there were showings
Star
on
Trek
Thursday.
Spoilers out there. Be careful.
I'm well
Staying
aware.
the fuck away from any Star Trek thing until I see it.
Do you guys know why this one came out on Thursday? I've never seen that before.
What, Iron Man? No, it actually happened with Star Trek. That's what I was going to say. For the first Star Trek film, technically it came out on Thursday, like early Thursday. Because I went to see a 7 p.m. showing of Star Trek at the AMC 42nd Street. So it completely depends on when movie theaters want to show it. If it's a big enough movie, they can show it anytime on that Thursday. But most wait until midnight. So yeah, that's completely up to them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but no. The other thing is it's also dependent on the holiday schedule for overseas. Because the reason that it usually comes out is specifically in May. Earlier in the UK is because they have their holiday season around the time that the movie is going to be coming out, so they get to get it a few days before us, and that's what happens there. And because America likes to wait for Free Comic Book Day for the Marvel movie to come out, which I have always been happy about because I get to do Free Comic Book Day plus.
I'm fine with that. Just do
movie.
it the same week or something. Good God.
For that matter, did you do any Free Comic Book Day stuff, Brent?
Yes, I went to the comic book store and picked up my 4 free comics plus Superman, which was a piece of shit, and Infinity.
Nice. What were the other two? Or was it 4? Or was it 4 plus the duty?
I got 4 plus the extra 2.
Okay.
Because they had quote unquote extra copies.
Right. Translation. They ordered a shitload of Marvel and DC, and then whatever they could of everything else.
I got Valiant, Absolution, Judge Dredd, and some other thing I can't remember.
I got Walking Dead, Molly Danger, the Action Lab NFL comic, just for the hell of it, Bongo Free for All, and There's at least one more in there that I'm not thinking of. Oh, and of course, Infinity.
I try not to get anything already on Comixology.
Okay. Yeah.
Because there's a couple things on Comixology for Free Comic Book Day.
Read the Avatar: The Last Airbender free Comic Book Day. By the way, it's actually a really good story with May.
Because I'll totally enjoy it because I know what the fuck is going on.
Yes, you should watch Avatar: The Last Airbender already, motherfucker. Jeez.
I don't like Shyamalan. They're not putting his name on this After Earth movie because they don't want people to run away screaming from
Why
it.
the hell would I be talking about Shyamalan? I'm talking about the animated series, dude.
That came out after the movie.
No, it
Come
didn't.
on, man.
No, it didn't. I'm gonna punch you in the face for even suggesting that.
That movie was the funniest movie I've ever seen in my life.
Oh no! The funniest movie I ever saw in my life was
The Happening.
No, not that shit. Frank Miller's The Spirit. Yeah, Frank Miller's The Spirit was the funniest movie I ever saw in my life.
I was sitting there, and like when the credits were rolling, I was with like a bunch of friends, and they all slowly turned to kill me. I said, "Really, the Darwin Cook comic is better," and ensue fighting. Like they were not happy.
Did you do anything for Free Comic Day, Donovan?
I was out of town. I was hanging with some college friends, so I didn't miss Free Comic Day. I heard that the Superman one was like pretty interesting. I heard that they got the costume wrong again, but I didn't see anything. No.
Gee,
Well,
really?
it was a reprint of Jeff Johns' first Superman issue, and then an interview with shitty questions that you've probably read on Newsarama or CBR anyway.
Oh, dear.
What makes Superman special? Well, Superman is the first superhero, and he's an immigrant. And insert cliche answer here.
Please.
Although the movie does look awesome.
Yeah. Oh, and we all saw it in 2D, right?
Yes.
Good.
3D.
You saw it in 3D?
Yeah,
Oh God, you paid the extra money for that? Ugh.
I did.
Was it actually worth it?
Yeah, it was pretty well. Nah, I wouldn't call it worth it.
Yeah, that's what I
It was
figured.
done well. There just weren't any like pop out, stand out moments.
Right, because it wasn't made for 3D. It was up
Hey,
for.
I'm sorry. The Cinema Blend article about 2D or not 2D did not come out until after I bought my ticket.
That
all right?
is the question.
That site does a great thing. Whenever 3D movies come out, they talk about all these different 3D factors and kind of give you an idea of whether you should go or not. And they gave Iron Man 3 a 3 out of 5 on an overall scale for 3D.
I saw Avengers for the second time in 3D, and that was actually pretty cool.
Yeah, and since the Avengers 3D was so damn good, I figured this would be okay.
All right, that's fine.
So there you go.
Maybe the second time I see Thor 2, I'll see it in 3D. We'll see, because it looks like it's going to be a very poppy movie in some ways. Did you all see the trailer for that in front of Iron Man 3? Okay.
Yes.
I didn't see it in front of Iron Man 3, but I saw it. I've seen it. I've seen the trailer online.
Okay. It's pretty badass.
Did you guys talk about the news with Robert Downey Jr. that was let out today?
No, we're getting
going there next.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
exactly where we're rolling next.
Right ahead.
But let me
Segue.
let me say real quick about Thor though. I love that a Loki without hair product looks like Darlene from Roseanne.
Yeah, he's rocking it, ain't he? That was hilarious.
I had initially posted Jack White, but now that I've seen more and more comparisons, it is frickin' Darlene from Roseanne. Like it's straight up. Like he's just rocking the Darlene.
I love that whole. So you need my help, and I was like, okay, this is a buddy cop movie, isn't it?
Oh yeah! And then in the end, he gets turned
Slot.
into a small child, and then we get Journey into Mystery, which is a great comic book. Now that I'm finally reading it, yeah. So let's talk Downey Jr. He's holding out for more money to be in Avengers 2 and Avengers 3, and he's, as of now, saying he does not want to do a Iron Man 4, but that is TBD, because I think it all depends on how much moolah he's handed to him on a silver platter. But do you feel this is justified, and how much do you think this is going to affect future Marvel movies? Because I know that specifically Thor, they didn't get that high a raise for Thor: The Dark World. They only got like a $500,000 raise or something like that.
From 200,000.
From 200,000, right? And Downey's asking for like 20 mil. So I think the rest of the Avengers actors are going to wind up asking for a hell of a lot more moolah to do Avengers 2, and a lot of them are signed already, so they might actually wind up having to hold out. What do you think, Brent?
Personally, I was astonished he earned over $50 million on the back end of Avengers. I was like, hot damn, he's got a good contract lawyer. So frankly, if he got the same deal for Avengers 2 as he did for the first Avengers, I would be happy.
Yeah.
Because you're never going to spend $50 million in one lifetime, much less if you get the same amount on the sequel, which we know is going to break even more records and stuff like that.
Sure.
Come on.
Right.
So I'm kind of hoping that he's kind of holding out on behalf of his fellow actors.
That's what I think he is as well.
Because I think they all deserve a raise after Avengers 1 performed so exuberantly.
Good word.
Thank you. I just pulled it out of my buttocks. But so that's kind of where I'm hoping it's coming from, and that, I think they all deserve a raise. They're all really good. There's no one in that Avengers cast you could be like, they don't deserve a raise or anything like that.
Oh, sure.
Especially if they're doing their own, movies and spin-offs and stuff like that. So I hope they all get a raise.
Give Kobe Smulders a raise and give her more lines.
That's right. So we know this is going to perform. It's a done deal. So why they need to hold out other than they're going to open a theme park with $1 billion or something like that, I have no idea.
Oh God, now I'm just totally imagining a Avengers 2 where Tony doesn't lift the helmet once and he's voiced by the guy who voiced him in Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes. And
Yeah.
and they're just like, Tony, what's the problem? Oh, well, somehow I managed to jam this shut and I can't open it. Oh, well, looks like we're going to have to take on Thanos. Yeehaw.
Maybe Tony's just too drunk, so he just sends in Rhodey. Just call it done.
It's like the Crispin Glover approach, like from Back to the Future with him.
Oh God, no, because you mentioned Crispin Glover, and immediately I think of that horrible fucking album he came out with a few years back. Because I listened to the cover he came out with of These Boots Are Made for Walking on that. It is the worst thing I have ever listened to in my life.
Obviously, you didn't listen to the Jessica Simpson version.
You know what? It's better than that. It is. That's all I'm saying.
Not the worst thing you've ever listened to, then.
God.
And I'm sure you've heard Raph sing, too. So
I've heard Raph sing. He has more melody than Crispin Glover. Really. Yeah, no, and just quoting the Movie Web article real quick, and then I'll ask Donovan for his thoughts. Doug Kreutz was asked about this, and he's a financial analyst. He said, it would be a definite negative for that particular franchise. He is Tony Stark. The other individuals' franchises, Thor, Captain America, Hulk, etc., don't have near the level of box office potential that Iron Man does. The other way to look at it is that Iron Man would probably look more like those other franchises in terms of box office performance without Downey, which is actually kind of a good point to make, because Robert Downey Jr. is Iron Man. Iron Man is Robert Downey Jr. Tony Stark is Robert Downey Jr. I cannot tell the two apart anymore.
I would be surprised if they recast him after the final stamp of this movie is I am Iron Man. Mm-hmm. Again, we've tied up all the loose ends. We know how much of a badass I am.
And then we find out that he added that line in. Nope. Just to say
Joseph Gordon-Levitt is Iron Man. He's a suitable replacement. What the fuck?
Eyes in the armor.
Because it seems like the internet wants Joseph Gordon-Levitt to replace anybody on everything now. Yeah, it's awful.
God. Donovan, what do you think?
I mean, since he will be back for Avengers 2 and 3, that to me implies that he might have some cameos in some of the movies like he did in The Incredible Hulk.
Nothing signed yet. He says he wants to be back for Avengers 2 and 3. Nothing is signed yet.
Personally, I don't feel that I don't really feel like I need to see, and this is not based off Iron Man 3, like my personal feelings on it. Not that I hated it, but I don't really feel that we need to see more Iron Man movies. And the fact that the idea is he'll return for these Avengers movies, I feel as though this is fine. I mean, as long as he definitely has a presence, and because his presence is set, I don't think that there's a demand to see him kind of carry, because I think there is an idea that he's sort of carrying the Marvel universe, and I mean, as much as I don't like that, just because I want other characters like Captain America to be represented, I feel though that is a truism, and I think it's an unfortunate truism. Mm-hmm. So I would like the other characters like Cap 3 and Thor 3 potentially to do well, for those guys to kind of find their feet as much as he did. Now, granted, he got a lot of goodwill off of the first Iron Man movie, so it's not exactly the same thing. Mm-hmm. But I mean, to me, like this is like a holy shit, this is horrible kind of moment. This is like okay, well let's see what happens. I mean, this is not, as long as he's not replaced, and he does show up in the Avengers movies, I'll be good.
Yeah.
I'm not demanding more Iron Man movies, basically.
If we do get other Iron Man movies and they happen after Avengers 2 and 3 with someone else, okay. You know, as long as you get someone good to replace him, someone who's on the same caliber as Robert Downey Jr. acting-wise and can fill the shoes anywhere near as well as Robert Downey does, okay. But give
Ryan
me
Gosling.
Ryan Gosling. No. How about Ryan Reynolds? Yeah. But no, give me Avengers 2 and 3 with Robert Downey, and then probably by the end of Avengers 3, he's going to be too old to play Tony Stark anyway.
He's 49.
Yeah. No, we gotta have him for at least the next 2 Avengers movies. That's all I'm saying. If we don't have another Iron Man movie for a while, it ain't gonna kill me because we're gonna have Ant-Man, we're gonna have Doc Strange, we might even have a Ms. Marvel movie coming up. You know, a whole bunch of movies to suit us in the Marvel universe.
Suit.
It's funny because he's Iron Man. All right, I am giving this movie. Brent gave it a. What'd you give it? A 3 out of 4? You said
3.5.
3.5. Okay, 3.5 out of 5. I'm gonna give it about a 3.8 out of 5. Actually, you know what? Screw it, 4 out of 5. Because I'm pretty sure I gave Iron Man 5 out of 5. So make it a 4 out of 5. Donovan.
Out of 5?
Yeah.
Vacillating between a 3 and a 3.5. I gotta say, I can't say I wasn't entertained. I did enjoy it, but I do have my problems. So probably
you have your problem with the back half for the most part.
Yeah, I'll give it a 3, but it's a strong 3.
All right, cool. That works. Any final thoughts, gentlemen, before we wrap this up?
I got some stuff to pimp if you don't mind, or you can just cut it
yeah,
out.
no, please. We're gonna pimp the shit out of shit in a minute. I've actually got a lot of stuff to mention at the end of this here. So, Brent, any final thoughts or anything? Or
Man of Steel finally looks good.
Yes.
Why did it take 3 trailers for it to finally look good?
However, if that spoiler is true, it's gonna be rough.
I've heard that there is a spoiler, but I've not.
Well, the little bit about the thing. Thing.
If boom doesn't go boom, then I'm gonna be sad. That's all I'm saying.
If I still get his kick-ass Superman film out of it, I'm not.
Yeah, I know. I'll be there too. It's just that's a little bit more than changing the Mandarin for me. That's sort of, you know, what if doesn't then that's gonna change Superman entirely. So we'll see. But I've been hearing
maybe
positive
that's the
things.
reason why he doesn't have red underwear.
Ooh.
Is that universes where the river goes ba-boom, ba-boom-ba-dar, he gets red underwear, and then where it doesn't happen, he doesn't get red underwear.
I'm gonna have to cut that particular part out and use that as like an in between interviews thing from now on, like the in between clips I use. You just going with the badunga.
The rumor can't possibly be true.
Well, we'll see. All right, go ahead, Donovan. Pimp your wares.
Okay, well, your listeners probably have never heard me before. Although I have played this trailer on my podcast, I am a co-host on the Spider-Man Crawl Space podcast, where we talk about Spider-Man once a month, although there are several episodes taken out a month. The modern comics and all the news and all the movie news and all that stuff. It's a lot of fun. You find
Who's on that podcast?
Chris
Johnson on it?
No, that's Amazing Spider-Cast.
Oh, I don't know. You know,
that went away, yeah. Although Chris does join me on another show I do, or I'm a part of.
Is that the hair club for guys in college?
I've had it since cut. I was just saying that, but like Chris, he does some commentaries with me at the BatmanUniverse.net. I'm a part of the Comic Cast there, and the BatmanUniverse.net has a lot of fun stuff for fellow fans of Batman. The Comic Cast that I'm a part of comes out every 2 weeks, where we review the modern comics. If you're a fan of Batgirl, you might want to skip my parts. And it's found on the BatmanUniverse.net. And finally, I have my own show that I co-host with Jesse Garrett that covers everyone's favorite anime that no one watches anymore, Dragon Ball Z. The Next Dimension of Dragon Ball Z podcast. Find that at dbznextdimension.libsyn.com. Thank you very much for having me.
No problem. Send me links to all of these so I can properly link to them in the show notes once the episode comes out. Because the last time you were on in 2011, you didn't have anything to plug. Now you do.
like the New 52 happened and everything changed.
Yeah, really. And yes, if you would like to hear, amusingly enough, the last time that Donovan was on was when the New 52 got announced. So episode 125, the new DCU, cover date September 25th, 2011. I'm calling them cover dates now because I feel like it. Episode 125. Donovan's on that, so you can check that out as well. I was on Comic Book Laundry, episode 9, which was their wrap-up of CGS Super Show. So I'm on that with Bill English, Yanni, Chad Burdett, and Harold Jennett. And you can find that at comicbooklaundry.com, which as of episode 10 is going to be syndicated here on the Comic Timing feed. We have cleared that with our lawyers now, Brent, correct?
I don't know. Did you pay the lawyers?
We have lawyers?
History's changing all over again.
In the New 52, we have lawyers, and they need to be paid, so we'll see about that.
Is this one of those, like, marketing legal service things, or is this like Legal Zoom that you cleared it with?
Legal Zoom.
Actually, it's just some law student at a local college who thinks he knows what he's doing, which is just about really all we need anyway. I mean, we're just
that makes sense.
Podcast.
I mean, that kind of fits your budget.
Yeah, that's about right. But you can check them out at comicbooklaundry.com, and as I said, they will be syndicated here as well, so you can check those out. We're probably going to have a Comic Timing Extra Point next week, where I go over my previous Netflix watching, and there might be some interview episodes coming out every now and then with just me, because I'm not going to force Brent to be on episodes he doesn't care about. So we'll see about that. But I will at least ask Brent first before I set things up to see if it's anybody he gives a shit about. So we'll see about that. Brent, you got anything upcoming?
Nothing. Just if you want to support the show, like us on Facebook, www.facebook.com/Comic Timing, and like us. And please comment on our posts. We'd like some discussion and input. That's fun stuff. If you want to donate to the show, buy Ian a beer at a con.
Oh, you're damn right. Please. And if it's Budweiser, I'm revoking your privileges. I'm sorry. Just no. I did try.
You have standards.
Say again?
You have standards.
Oh, please, come on. No, I tried the. I did actually try a Coors beer I liked the other day at Yankee Stadium. They have their Batch 19, which is their pre-Prohibition ale, which is mighty tasty actually. It's got some nice malty notes going on.
I like that, Marky. Pre-Prohibition.
Yeah, no. Well, that's the way they make it. They're making it with pre-Prohibition standards, because beer did actually change after the Prohibition. A lot of the old recipes got lost along the way, and this is one of the ones that Coors turned up.
Were they lost in space?
Just like Guardians of the Galaxy, which is coming out next year, which we'll probably talk about when it comes out. All right, I think
I love that McNiven did 0, 1, and then half of 2. Just after we predicted he disappears, he doesn't even stay on that long. I was like, oh my gosh.
Someone's going to have to tell me if Iron Man is worth it now that Greg Land is gone, but I'm afraid that like the minute I start buying it again, he'll come back just to taunt me.
By the time you get caught up to read it when he's gone, he'll come back.
Oh, please, yeah. Oh, and that also reminds me, speaking of getting caught up on things, we did link to it on the site, but as a reminder, both Brent and I were on the AVX podcast, episode 9. EMX, sorry, you're right. EMX podcast episode, I'm going to get the actual episode number here. It was either 9 or 10, I forget which one, as the site loads. Scrolling down. Scrolled too far. That's scrolling back up. Episode, well, I'm entirely wrong. It's episode 5. So EMX episode 5, Redneck Doctor Doom. We thank Corwin and the gang for having us on for that. You listen to the episode, dude. It's actually a lot of fun.
Brent is hilarious. I listened to it. He's hilarious. Oh my gosh.
He really is. He should have his own show. But for once, as I said on the episode itself, for once, it's both Brent and I representing Comic Timing as opposed to somebody just inviting me and forgetting that Brent exists entirely. So that's good. That's good. Let's keep that coming, people. Remember, this is a 2-person show and has been for quite some time. All right?
As long as they say Ian of Comic Timing.
Right. And not just Ian, host of the Comic Timing podcast.
Comic Timing.
Ian, host of the Comic Timing podcast, and that other guy. All right. So the email address for Comic Timing is comictiming@gmail.com. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook. Once again, it is facebook.com/Comic Timing. Very easy to remember. It's the name of the goddamn show. No spaces. It's just facebook.com/Comic Timing. You have no reason to forget that. Do it! You can Send us an iTunes review on iTunes if you'd like. I don't know if we've gotten any of those because I haven't checked them in forever, but if you haven't, go ahead and do so. We're proud members of the Comics Podcast Network over at comicspodcast.com and the League of Comic Book Podcasts over at comicbooknoise.com/league. And you can hear us on Stitcher Radio on demand. If you have a Stitcher app, just search for Comic Timing. We're on there. You can get us without having to download it. Donovan, thanks for jumping on, man. It was great to have you.
Thank you very much for having me for a second time, surprisingly.
Hey, come on, man. You never know when it's going to go down. Thanks again, Juan, for being on the show. Oh, wait, you're not here. Thanks, Brent, for being Brent.
You're welcome.
And as always, there's
always comics.
time for comics.
That's the Ben Kingsley edit.
It's all good. Welcome to episode 143 of Comic Timing, a comics podcast devoted to the average comic book fan from the average comic book fan. Joining us, Brent. One more time. That was special.
Where is my dog? Wanking somewhere. He's not in the room. But I don't know who we could.
I found my bird.
I found my bird. I'd actually watch that Monday.
Oh yeah, nice.
This is not my bird.
Not my bird.
No, my bird. Now I'm doing
You're turning into
Christopher
Arnold.
Walken.
You're turning into Walken, and I'm turning into Arnold. It's not my bird.
Anton Vanko's like a mix between Christopher Walken and Arnold Schwarzenegger.
But sort of like my personal perspective and respect to John Cheadle. Sorry, I have a mouthful of food.
I'm completely like transforming into Triple H now. Time to play the game. All right.
Oh yeah, that's all I got.
Dig it. Juan, it's now 10:20, and we would like to record. I did mean this Wednesday, as in today, because it's Wednesday. And you said, hey, LOL, 10 is fine. And then I said, cool, talk to you then. And now you're not here. Just wanted to remind you of that.